I went to the LRH communicator, L. Ron Hubbard communicator. It's a it would basically be my senior. When I first joined the C organization, I was on it's like a deck project where you get initiated and you get trained and you learn what to expect. And I went to him and I said, look, I've been told a lot of things about the C organization. I said, but this doesn't seem to match what I was told. I said, there's something very wrong here. And his reaction was basically, shut the fuck up and get with the program and don't be giving me problems.
No, I've heard, having read John Dignan's book.
Did I just swear? Sorry.
It's no problem. Say what you want. Don't worry, there's not a PG rating on the documentary.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So I've spoke to John Dignan about his time in the Sea Org, and he's spoken about a number of abuses that have gone on in the Sea Org. Did you witness any abuses, either to yourself personally or to other members? Now, bear in mind, because of liability, probably best not to mention names.
Mm-hmm. Did I witness any abuses? Horrible living conditions, animalistic living conditions, food deprivation, sleep deprivation, enforced abortions, being imprisoned on the Rehabilitation Project Force, which is where bad Sea Org members are sent to in order to come to their senses and learn how to behave appropriately, and living under 24-hour watch with security guards sitting outside the door, which is basically false imprisonment. I witnessed all of those things. I had an abortion. I was forced to have an abortion myself. I know personally of 2 other girls in the Sea organization who were forced to have an abortion, whose names I won't mention. Yes, I saw abuses.
Okay, Samantha, I'm going to refer to 2 points. First of all, could you tell me about the abortions, how you were forced, the reasons given, and also to explain in more detail what the RPF is?
The abortion, I had been married a couple of months while I was, I met somebody while I was at Celebrity Centre, and I'd been married a couple of months. I was on the pill, and I fell pregnant. And there is a policy in the Sea organisation that if you are, what I understood to be true, if you fall pregnant, you are you're removed from the Sea organisation and you are sent to a non-Sea organisation church that's not run by the Sea organisation. The smaller organisations are not run by the Sea organisation, they're run by regular staff members. So what should occur if you fall pregnant is you are then sort of, you're not exactly released from the Sea Org, but you're sent to a smaller organisation. So I reported to the ethics department at Celebrity Centre, and I said, oops, I'm pregnant. We're going to have to start a program whereby I, because you don't just leave the Sea organisation, there's a whole program. So I said, I'm here to report in for my program, because obviously I have to leave the Sea organisation and go to a smaller organisation, at which point I was told no. My husband at the time was working in the president's office at Celebrity Centre, and I was told basically that I had committed some mortal sin. I was now responsible not only for having gotten pregnant, now I would have to leave the Sea Org, and it's a mortal sin that I am removing myself, and this is going to affect the whole planet because I'm a valuable Sea Org member. Not only that, but I've also affected my husband, who has a very important job in the president's office. So my getting pregnant has now destroyed the organization by forcing them to let 2 Sea Org members go. That was the initial briefing I was given, and then I was asked, well, what are you going to do about it? And that came out of left field. I wasn't expecting that, and I said, well, what do you mean? What am I going to do about it? The policies relating to this say that I must now leave the sea organization and go and work in a small organization. And I was told, well, you've basically messed everything up now and you need to deal with it the appropriate way. And I said, do you mean an abortion? And the ethics officer said, well, what's the greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics here? Meaning, this is the right decision. I then went home later. I said, I want to talk to my husband about this. I went home. Meanwhile, my husband had been pulled in by his seniors, and he returned home and he said, I know exactly what you've done. You deliberately got pregnant to pull me out of the sea organization, and I'm basically not on your side. You're on your own. And I know what you did, and treated me like a criminal. At that point, I basically, the marriage was over. I went and got the abortion, and within 3 days I was back on duty, back doing my job. And the other question was?
About the RPF.
The RPF followed on shortly after the abortion. It was considered that I'd screwed up enough times that now I must be put on the RPF, and I wanted to leave. And I was sent there for correction. I was sent to the RPF, and I actually didn't want the RPF is supposed to be the Rehabilitation Project Force. The church will tell you this is a voluntary program. People choose to do this, but I was basically told, you either go on, I said I want to leave, and I was basically told, you either go and do this program or you're going to be excommunicated and declared and, cut off. And I didn't want that because I did believe that I didn't want to be excommunicated and cut off from all my friends and never allowed to talk to any of them again and cut off from Scientology, so I agreed to do the RPF. That's how that occurred.
And Samantha, could you tell me about the conditions in the RPF? I believe it's a forced labour camp.
Basically. We were assigned, I was sent to a room where we probably had about 12 people in the same room. We had bunks stacked up 3 high, communal showers. We were up at 7 o'clock in the morning, I think it was. We had to muster up and report for duty. And then we at the time we were working on the Cedars build, I don't know what you would call it, the Cedars building, the Advanced Org in Los Angeles. We were working on the renovations on that. And we were basically, tearing down the walls in there, putting up HVAC systems, cleaning up, doing whatever manual labor we needed to do, and running around in black boiler suits. That wasn't so bad. I actually enjoyed, I did learn some skills, even though the living conditions were foul and there wasn't a lot of sleep. But I felt like, I'd actually been convinced that I was a real mess, and this was my way of sort of making up for all the damage that I'd done. And I actually really believed that. I actually really believed I deserved to be sent to the prison camp. And I had messed up and destroyed people and almost destroyed my husband by getting pregnant. And so I was, I went along with it for a while. There was one point where I escaped and I jumped out of a window, actually into a tree, because I had a security guard sitting outside my window. And I came back mortified. I'm sorry, I've committed a terrible sin. I'm back. And then I was put on the RPF's RPF. In the RPF, you're not allowed. You're dirt. You're the lowest scum, and no one's allowed to talk to you. The RPF's RPF, you're the scum of the scum, and the people who are already scum are no longer allowed to talk to you. So basically, there were 2 of us on the RPF's RPF. And nobody on the RPF was allowed to talk to us. And we had quarter wages, which at the time I think the wages were about £20. So we had a quarter of that every week. That was our wages. and RPF was pretty bad. I mean, we were still getting fed, but the jobs, an example of one of the jobs was something people were very afraid of was Rat's Alley. And Rat's Alley was passageway about so high under the kitchens. And you'd have to, and infested with grease and bugs, which I hate, and cockroaches and silverfish. And you had to crawl along on your back along this passageway under the kitchens and with a bucket of water. But it was so short you actually had to crawl on a backboard with wheels on it because you couldn't stand up. And you crawl along these passages with a bucket of hot soapy water cleaning up grease spots. And it was really nothing. I mean, if they really wanted to clean the grease pits out, you could have hired a professional company. It was really punishment.